Hey everybody, and welcome to another Age of Grogu. And I've got with me, as always, Max. Hey Max, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good.
Hey, we don't have Jason or Elijah today. It is Father's Day. They're spending some quality time outside of us. So you in chat, everyone in chat there, you've got us, and we've got a few things to go over today. How you been, Max? How's your week? Anything interesting? Any new comics? Anything new going on?
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff happened this week.
Hmm.
Where was I just looking at? There's a new Captain America relaunch this week. I
Oh,
got to
okay.
meet the writers. It's a
Oh,
really
cool.
good book. A lot of people really they've been liking
Right.
it. So, yeah, I highly recommend that. It's a cool book.
That's cool. Nice. Very cool. That's awesome. What other things? How's things going in your comic right now? You're doing a comic strip, and
Yeah,
it sounds like
things been moving. I got another
yeah,
page in today. I am
that's
more
great.
than halfway done with the first book,
Wow,
so
that's great.
it's moving. It's moving along. I'll have more stuff to show very soon.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. We'll definitely keep everyone posted out there as that comes along, and we'll do whatever distribution you decide to do in the future. We'll channel it through here and elsewhere, obviously. So that'll
Yeah,
be
I'll
kind
keep
of
everyone
fun.
posted on that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, most definitely, yeah. So keeping on the comic book news, I did see we had a little bit of not so great news. We lost another great in the form of
Yeah,
uh, of
Tim
Tim
Sale,
Sale, another comic book artist creator.
another industry legend. The
Yeah,
great Tim Sale, wrote,
yeah.
artist for the Long Halloween, Dark
Oh wow.
Victory,
Yeah.
Daredevil, Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, Hulk
Right.
Gray. His work, yeah, Superman for all seasons. His work with Jeff Loeb is basically unparalleled. It's some of the most eye-catching comic book art with just
Right.
amazing stories.
Yeah. A lot of his covers are very
Yeah, they're
bold
different. They're
colors.
very yeah. It's not what a lot of other people do with these characters, which is what I think makes
Right.
his stories visually so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's crazy. It's like we've lost like what three, four big
It's
comic in the
yeah,
last like month and
oh
a half.
yeah. It's been a in the last couple months a
Yeah.
lot of comic book industry legends have
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah. Wow, it's kind of crazy. Well, I mean, their work lives on, I guess, in the form of the comics that they did and the iconicness and stuff like that. So yeah. So I just thought we'd just touch on that anyway. Yeah. What other things have been going on out there, news wise? Let's see. We've got this one little here. Oh
Oh
yes,
yeah,
I read this. This is interesting for the Game of Thrones fans out there. Jon Snow supposedly returning in a sequel series development by HBO. How do you
I'm
feel
split.
about this?
I'm very split on it.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's the only character that they left an open ending for in the show. Where they were like, all right, he's going
Right.
out with spoilers, I guess, for people who
Yeah.
haven't seen the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He leaves. He goes out on his own with
Right.
the wildlings, and
Yeah.
he's forging his own path. And
Right.
I guess it'd be cool to see what it is, but I don't think we necessarily need to.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather follow a young Arya Stark across the bay, across the world,
Yeah, I think
and
she'd be a
that sort of
character that has
story.
much more story to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe
Even
maybe they'll.
Sansa, I think,
Yeah.
is I've always loved
Yeah.
Sansa. I think she's always that. Just even though she's like
Hmm.
the character that does the least stuff action wise,
Yeah.
she has
Yeah.
the most interesting story. She's always just been,
Yeah.
I guess, the most resilient. And
Yeah.
she's just been kind of dunked on the whole show and just kind of became the queen. So I always thought that was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, she became one of those characters that grew into the queenhood, though, quite gracefully, I thought,
Yeah.
and quite surprisingly. I meant, hey, how's it going, Liam? How you doing?
Hey.
That counts. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, well, it's just the two of us today, so yeah, we'll be chatting about Kenobi, and I'm going to show some more stuff on. Hey, look, it's Anchorman. How you doing, man? Okay, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, we'll be talking about that and some other things too. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I don't know much more to say about Game of Thrones except for the fact the new series starts next month, and I'll be curious to see what they do with it. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure it's a different showrunner, and I mean, we'll probably discuss it and talk about it because I think it's something that we all kind of got into more or less and
What's
touched
funny,
base
I
on.
feel like I'm the only one I know that
Mhm.
loved the last season, and it's weird.
Okay,
I loved it because I started watching it very late. I started
right,
watching it before the last
right,
season started. I
yeah,
think was around that time, and I predicted the ending somehow. I just was like, "Yep, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is
yeah,
gonna happen." So when
yeah,
all those cards fell, I was the one just being like sitting back and like,
yeah.
"Yep, yep, yep." While everyone else around me was
There
mad.
was a lot of things in it that that changed. I think it was just the fact when they got off the books, it was very noticeable production wise because they didn't know necessarily how to write the characters. And that's right, Anchorman. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Yeah, they didn't know how to necessarily write for the characters the lengthy dialogue that they had set up in the previous seasons where there was subject material to work off of, and it became a very changed series along it. But I did recap and watch all 7 8 series or the seasons when it went through, and about 6 months later, and it flowed through a little easier watching it all as a binge watch, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so. I've watched it a few
Yeah.
times. I think it flows. I think a lot of the
Mhm.
events specifically flow
Right.
together with nice time
Yeah.
between them, and it really
Yeah.
feels very like fleshed out.
Yeah. Either way, it was, I was not one of the ones who hated the last season. I enjoyed certain parts of it. There were things that didn't necessarily work for me, but and there are things that definitely worked for me. So
How
it
did
was
you
one of those
feel
things.
about
Mm.
Khaleesi turning evil? Even though it was kind of, I always felt she
Um,
was on that path from the start. I
I
felt like
felt
that
she
was
was.
kind
I
of,
felt she was on that path from the start. That part of the story didn't bother me. I would like to have seen a more fitting end for Cersei, and
yeah,
it
yeah. Her
just.
ending
I
was a
just
little.
feel. Yeah, it was a little muddy on
I feel well, I feel
her
like on the
ending.
if you in like a book, it would have
Mm.
been amazing for like the irony of her being buried in the
Yeah.
one
Oh,
place she always
completely.
wanted to
Absolutely.
be.
Yeah.
But if you on a screen, it was just a little
Flat.
underwhelming to look
It was,
at.
yeah, definitely underwhelming for the death of that character, especially since I forgot the actress's name, but she's so wonderful
Yeah,
playing Cersei. She
Lena
was,
Headley.
yes, Lena Headley. She was awesome, and it seemed like you needed a fitting end to that character that mimicked her performance. How's it going, Black Loki? How you doing?
Hey,
Well, it's good to see you. Your partner in crime, the comic book fans, for sure. Yeah, so let's move on from that. What other things are there that have been out there? Well, I mean, we could talk about let's talk about Marvel for a little bit. Let's Miss Marvel. Um, we
yes,
watched episode 2. We did a reaction video to episode 2, dropped it a few days ago. It's very hard to watch both two shows in one night, I'm finding. We couldn't do Kenobi and Ms. Marvel and
they're
put them
long.
together, edit it. It's long, and I've been working on the Wednesday, so I couldn't handle that. So we have been dropping Ms. Marvel a few days later. But starting from after next week, we'll be definitely doing midnight reactions and dropping them the next day once Kenobi finishes next week. So yeah, episode 2 of Ms. Marvel, dude. What did you think?
I loved it. I thought it's
Yeah,
another really solid episode.
yeah,
They were just being really respectful of the character. Like, I know a lot of
yeah.
people were going to be upset about the power change. I'm kind of over it at this
It's
point.
not bothering me. It's not bothering me at all. Again, because I don't know about her powers, but I am loving the I'm loving the style of helping me understand a culture of Muslim Pakistani kind of, you know, the religion element of it. I'm loving how they're showing different diversities within those ethnic groups, which is fantastic. And I'm feeling comfortable watching this. I'm going, oh, I get it now. They're very similar to, just, they're similar to Western society in some respects, in the reference of, like, they do have their own little groups and their own little factions and their own separation of groups, but completely different in respect and understanding. I'm loving the filmmaking process. I'm loving the production quality. I'm loving the cinematography. And the thought that's going behind this series, from both producing, producing and direction, is where it's blowing me away, just more than anything.
Yeah,
What
I
about
think the
yourself?
advertising kind of hurt the show. I think it made it look like kind
Mm,
of like a Disney Channel kind of
yeah,
kids show,
it
and
did.
then you
Yes.
watch
Yeah.
it, and then it's
Yeah.
totally not. It's
Yeah.
just a really well built out show of really
Yeah.
likable characters and a really like believable story.
Yeah. Yeah. And the agent from No Way Home was in the show, which is an
Yeah,
interesting thing too. You know,
he works for Damage Control, so he is.
yeah.
They already established he's in New York trying to clean up, which is New York's always been the head where stuff
Hmm.
goes down in the Marvel
Oh yeah.
universe of like alien invasions, like multiple
Totally.
times,
Totally. Totally.
Spider-Maning,
Yeah.
Daredevils. So it's
Yeah.
like it makes sense. Damage Control's based out of there, so they saw her on the radar, and
Hmm.
I think it's a natural fit to bring those characters to
Yeah.
intersect with each other.
No, totally. I'm also enjoying the Natika, is it? The friend?
Nakia.
Nakia, sorry. Yeah, Nakia. I'm terrible with names, so forgive me when I try to pronounce them. Still haven't got their names in my head yet. But Nakia is just this interesting, obviously well-off, richer society of the group. But
Yeah, she's a little bougie.
yeah, I'm enjoying that character. It's as if the other friend kind of thing.
I just can't believe like she knew 22 pairs of shoes were stolen at the mosque, and she was like, "I'm gonna bring my Versace shoes."
Yeah, it's
What?
crazy. Yes,
That makes
it
no
is
sense to
funny.
me.
It is still funny. I mean, it's still amusing. It's like it's
And then she was
obviously
surprised. She's like,
yeah,
"The shoe thief stole it from me." It's like you
yeah,
brought the most expensive shoes like
right,
I could think of, just some Versace shoes, like to a place where things have been stolen
yeah,
already.
yeah,
I thought that was a funny
yeah,
way to convince her to run. Like it kind of was like it's a little narcissistic in her head of like
right,
that's what triggered her, but it's like it's
yeah.
funny.
No, I agree. I agree. Uh, and then we've got some more continuing, just the father and the brother,
Oh, they are
Yusuf, and
so good. I
yeah,
love how
I
the
love this
father
whole
was so
cast.
good in that scene when he was
Yeah,
like, saying, "Oh, I can't run. I can't vote for you. He's my best friend." And Nakia was like, "Well, you're gonna crush the dreams
yeah.
of your of your
Okay,
niece."
so wait, right out. Who's he going to vote for? Is he going to go with his friend, or is he going to go with his
He's going for
conscience?
Nakia.
Yeah, absolutely,
The
absolutely.
way he
I
was
yeah,
like eating, he was like,
yeah,
I can't vote for his friend
yeah,
anymore."
yeah. I think that's funny. I mean, I still don't know. I'm trying to understand what there's. I do need to rewatch these episodes. I've only really sat and watched them once, but I was just trying to get the idea of what they're going for, what they're running for specifically, I guess, and
It's just
stuff
like
like that. It
like the
just
board
passed my.
of the mosque, so they can have
Although,
like
although was
she's
it
on make
okay?
so she can make
Right.
decisions for stuff,
Okay. Right. And
like fixing
then
the women's section of the speakers, stuff like that.
yeah, oh yeah, little things, yeah. And again, this is just one of those shots, but the way they frame everything in this series, like, is just so wonderfully done. So we have the introduction of this guy here, Cameron. Cameron.
I'm gonna mess up his name.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
I didn't realize I saying it wrong in my head until I said it in the
yeah,
show.
hmm
Like it's
yeah. It's hard to pronounce some of
Carly,
the names,
not
but either
Carmen, Cameron,
yeah,
but not Cameron.
yeah, it's Cameron,
Yeah.
Cameron, or something.
I'm gonna mess it up. I was
Again,
saying
I haven't
Cameron in
watched
my
it.
head while I read it, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
haven't.
I was like,
Yeah, I haven't got enough pronunciation in my head as to how to pronounce it. But I don't know.
what do you
He's an
think of this
interesting
guy?
character. I mean, this guy. I think I even called it in this episode. There's something suspicious about this guy because
There's
he
something
just
suspicious
seemed.
about this
Yeah,
guy.
it was too good to be true, kind of thing, and too caring. And he obviously. I meant. What was it? I think it was you even mentioned you got the feeling you might be connected to the Eternals. Do we think that this might be his father, Kringo?
Kingo?
Kingo?
No, I don't think they're really connected to the Eternals. I think
Okay,
if anything, they're connected to the Inhumans,
right.
but I don't think they're probably going to go Inhumans. I think they're probably going to go with something else
Okay,
in what space to Earth, so like Kree or something like
Okay.
that.
Why wouldn't they go with somebody they've already introduced though at this point? Because it seems like the perfect fit that there's some sort that they
It's
could.
weird because I think
Yeah.
Inhumans are a gray area for them. I don't like
Right.
Inhumans were technically introduced into this universe, but then now it's gray
Okay.
area canon. Like the Inhuman
Right.
show is like it's
Yeah.
the same as
Fair enough.
Agents of Shield, where it's Agents of Shield could be canon, but
Right.
also can't be.
Yeah. The Eternals. The Eternals should be in show for no reason.
You know what? I support that. I think
Yeah.
probably not. They make no sense because there's no
Hmm.
deviation.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, unless
But they.
there's enough Inhumans in
Yeah.
the world for them to be taking over, then they can consider, oh, there's deviation here, but
Right. Right.
there's no deviance. So
And then I didn't pull enough images unfortunately, but just the whole the ability of Kamala coming into her powers at the end of the episode when she rescues that boy doing the stupid phone crap off the building, which is like it gave me almost like Superman, Man of Steel, like a Superman, not Man of Steel, Superman the movie, like vibes of someone's life is in danger and just leaping a tall building to get to them kind of thing, and even though it wasn't that case, it just had some great feeling to she's gonna just get it and her powers are just gonna click into place and she's gonna come in and rescue, which she failed at the same time. There was some things there
yeah,
that
it's
she.
funny. I think
Yeah.
what this show is succeeding at is
Mm,
there's so much stuff that they haven't done from superhero comics and just
right.
superhero culture. There's no
Yeah.
very little secret identities and there's very little learning curve to powers in the
Hmm.
MCU. So it's great to
Yes.
have someone have to learn their powers but also have to hide
Yes.
their identity at the same
Yeah.
time, which
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
that's the classic comic book stuff. That's like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's basic stuff. So it's great to see that finally
Yeah.
reappearing on the screen because
Yeah.
Spider-Man lost his identity before his trilogy was over.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
back together, but
Yeah. Yeah. No.
there's very little secret identity work in the MCU.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's just I'm enjoying everything about this show, and again, it was my least tier list of wanting to watch, and it's just become my highest. Yeah, like I'm enjoying it so much right now that I'm excited to see where this show goes, and I think we got 6 episodes from memory as
Yeah,
well, so it seems like the perfect round number for doing 6 episodes of these superhero based shows. So hopefully each episode will be around about 45 to 50 minutes long, each one on the average, which would be great.
they've been longer than the other shows. I've noticed that is
Mm,
that Miss Marvel's been around
yeah,
50 minutes, while like
yeah,
Loki and other shows were like
yeah,
around 45, sometimes like
yeah,
39 minutes.
mm, yeah. I mean, we still don't necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess that little drop at the end with um, uh, uh, Cameron's command. Cameron's mother, however you pronounce his name, it was his mother, right? That was in the backseat, correct?
His mother and
Yeah,
Kamala's
Kamala. Yeah.
great
Oh,
grandmother,
that
or
oh that was the great. Yes, that's it. The great
yeah,
grandmother, and who hasn't aged, by the way.
yeah. So I think
Mm,
there's something going on, some
mm,
trickery, whether she's an
yeah,
alien with a different lifespan or
gotcha.
inhuman or mutant, which would be
Mm,
different but cool. I don't really think mutant because I think I don't know. Something seems to be going on with that whole. If she
mm.
gets those visions, I'm gonna
Yes,
guess
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how they're showing Terrigenesis, like her powers kind
Okay,
of absorbing into her and be like becoming a part of her.
right. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? It's not bad to watch. I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying the series. I feel like I'm feeling like this is a little bit like Kenobi, where it's a solid story arc without a real break between events. So it's not like to be
Yeah,
continued. It's not. It's more to be continued next week rather than it is and picking up next week, kind of thing. So again, it's going.
I just think it's pleasant. I think it's just a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
pleasant show to watch.
yeah.
I've
It's a very
watched it like a
colorful
few
show
times.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
It's extremely colorful. And I think it was even Jason in our reaction who pointed out that all the colors between lighting and everything are mimicking her powers that are being used within the set design and lighting design and stuff like that, which is really, really cool. Again, extremely creative. I cannot wait to see like the behind the scenes of this series, just to understand the thought process for production itself, because this is the most production for me that doesn't feel like it's all visual effects backgrounds and stuff like that. It feels very natural in its surrounding, which is kind of cool. And they put a massive a lot of emphasis on the story, which I've been enjoying. So again, it's going to be interesting. We're starting to learn a little bit more about her where her powers are leading her to, I guess. And I'm excited to see how that takes form. And is the grandmother or great grandmother, the villain of the story? Is she someone
We've
who's
heard nothing
just
but bad things about her, and
yeah,
I guess we'll see what happens because
yeah.
she showed up in the sketchiest way. Like
She did,
she
yeah,
escaped the
absolutely.
police,
Hmm.
and then she just appeared.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, and the reason why she's appeared now, and is the son, a bad guy? Is he going to break away from whatever's going on? I don't know. I mean, we don't know. So many questions, which are great.
Yeah, I think it's the one thing it's
Yeah.
doing better than Kenobi is
Hmm.
they're leaving a lot of
Yeah.
open-ended mysteries, but they're doing it
Yes.
in a way where it's an open-ended mystery, not something that a fan has
Yeah.
to point out online where someone goes, "Oh, I didn't think of that." It's stuff they want you to be thinking
Yes.
about, which
No,
is a
absolutely. Yeah.
lot better.
Yeah. No, I agree there. And then again, Star Wars is always a very different formula
Yeah,
than
very different
than
vibe.
Marvel, so which is cool. But yeah, any other thoughts on Ms. Marvel at all?
I just think they're handling the character with a lot of respect, and
Yeah,
that was what a lot of people were worried about with
for
the
sure.
power change. They were
Yeah,
thinking like, "Oh, they're not respecting the character. They're not
yeah,
getting why her powers are like
right.
that." Which
Yeah,
maybe I will say they probably missed a mark because her powers are very representative of a teenager growing into her own body and learning to
right.
be comfortable with herself. But they're finding their
Yeah,
own way to do that with her powers taking over her
yeah,
body, like they're forming on her nose or her hand, and
yeah,
I think they're really finding their own vibe to the character. That's also very true to who the character always was.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, again, I'm excited to see where this story goes, and we've got four more episodes left of that. Yeah. So shall we jump into a bit of Kenobi?
Yeah.
All righty. Hang on a second. Where did I pull it up? First thing, we before we even talk about this week's, let's quickly talk about next week's. This dropped this week. Apparently, Canada, some areas of Canada are lucky enough to have a big screen theatrical release drop of the final episode of Kenobi next week.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a weird release method,
yeah,
but
but it
we'll
says
see how it goes.
133 minutes, but there's also going to be a question and answer I've discovered at the end of this. So I'm going to assume the episode is going to be close to an hour long, perhaps, hopefully an hour long. And I'm assuming there's like 30 minutes of question and interview stuff after
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I mean, if we're looking at about an hour long Kenobi for a season finale, it's going to be quite a blast. I'd be excited for that. As for this particular week's, wow, what a crazy episode! What a crazy this is the epitome of Vader being the fullest Vader could ever be. Uh, Vader has this is the Vader we've all wanted to see for so long. And there's been little bits and pieces in comics here and there I noticed showing how powerful Vader really is. But damn,
Yeah,
to
this was a
see it,
different level. Seeing
this
him
is
take
yeah,
a ship out of the sky
that
was just
was mind blowing. Absolutely
it
insane.
was stuff you've only ever seen in a video
Yeah,
game before in Star
correct.
Wars.
Exactly. Yes. And even then, there's something that was cartoonish about a video game.
Well, in the video game, it's a whole Star Destroyer that he takes out of orbit. So it's
Yeah,
a little different than a
right.
plane taking off.
Different,
But
but
this was still
this thing is
incredible. And it
there
was
was
believable that
such a
Vader could
moment.
do it.
Oh, when not just when he lands it, but he starts ripping out the hole, and pieces of the hole are just being torn to shreds and sunder. It's like,
He was so pissed. It
wow,
was
he
amazing.
this was Vader at full focused anger. And people keep saying, well, all the bad guys die and then they come back. Morph gets chopped in half, he comes back. We see the Inquisitor, Grand Inquisitor, get killed off, he comes back. unless they lose their heads like Count Dooku, anger is the way of the Sith. That drives, and even the Grand Inquisitor said this in that scene.
I
Anger
love how petty they
does,
were.
yeah,
They
yeah,
were so Darth Vader was
so
petty
good.
enough to not even draw his own lightsaber. He was
Oh,
petty enough to give her back a
the
lightsaber.
the the
He didn't
the
even like it
the
was he
the
was
fights of
so
well, it wasn't even petty. It was just to show how good Vader was. Vader was that skilled when it
yeah.
came to. He didn't need to pull out his lightsaber for an Inquisitor of all things. I mean, it just
In his head, he's like,
he
"You're not even a
takes
Sith. Like,
hers.
why do I have to
Yeah,
worry about you?"
yeah. The fact that he even takes hers and yeah, as you said, hands hers back is
That was to me
just
was just the best
was
moment.
it was such a great moment. Oh my goodness, it was incredible.
He was because
Um,
even him giving her lightsaber back doesn't even make
yeah,
it anywhere near fair. He's
no,
still Vader.
oh, exactly, exactly, and I think that's the difference between a Sith Lord and a Inquisitor, and they say that so often in Star Wars Rebels that Sith Lords are very different than Inquisitors. Inquisitors not fully trained in the full ways of the
Yeah, I think
Sith.
they were specifically held back because they don't
Hmm.
want them to become
Yeah,
Sith and overthrow them. At
absolutely.
least that's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
theory. I don't know if
yeah.
that's ever fully
Oh yeah.
confirmed, but
No, that's mine too. I mean, they're taught enough. They are definitely taught that their anger propels them to do better and to challenge against each other rather than challenge against themselves. And yeah, it's some really great stuff. I mean, jumping to the end of the episode here when he takes out Reva.
I want
You
to know
know,
why he left her alive. I feel like
yeah, I
it
feel
was
like
it
this
was such a
reason.
Palpatine move.
Yeah,
I feel
it
like I don't know. I liked it, but I was more a Palpatine move than a Vader move.
absolutely.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, definitely
yeah,
peak Vader.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there's purpose. There's always purpose for something done. Palpatine had always had served purpose. He always left things open, until he ultimately failed against Luke Skywalker's final, lack of betrayal. But Palpatine was always pulling the strings. So I still kind of feel that Palpatine feels like Raver. I mean, I feel like somewhere along the line, somebody knows that Raver is going to be leading you know, leading towards the greater element that the Skywalker, family has kids and stuff like that out there. I'm not too sure. That's where I'm thinking it's going. I feel like Palpatine is involved somehow in this, in
I
an
think he
order
has to
of keeping
be.
her
It's like,
alive. Yeah.
if we don't see Palpatine in the show, I will be very surprised. We only have one episode
Yeah.
left, but it feels like
Yeah.
he's gonna make a cameo, even
Yeah.
by just hollow projector or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's all it needs to be. I mean, just something. So I'm getting less I'm thinking less we're going to see young Ahsoka and any flashbacks more to the Clone Wars, though. I don't think this story needs Ahsoka as a flashback story in it. I think that we will get Anakin in flashbacks to Ahsoka the series
Yeah.
over Ahsoka in flashbacks to the Obi-Wan series. Which I'm fine with as well, because right now I'm compelled in this story of
I think that makes more
seeing
sense
this.
anyway.
Yeah,
This is an Obi-Wan
but
show, and
yeah,
Ahsoka is gonna be
yeah,
Ahsoka and Anakin
yeah.
show.
But very little escapes Palpatine, and Palpatine knows there's something else going on out there. He may not, I'm not surprised that Palpatine is not aware that Anakin has kids somewhere out there, and
Yeah.
that I feel he knew so much about Anakin that it wouldn't
I'm
surprise
surprised
me if he
Anakin was still like I don't know how he kept that a secret. Like that's the
yeah,
one thing that plus
yeah,
they didn't even change
but
Luke's name. They were just like he's
right,
a
no,
Skywalker.
but it seems like that Palpatine knows something that the kids exist, even though he can't find them, and I feel like that might be a reason why he wants Raver alive, because somehow she's going to be a connection to them, which we obviously know she is now. It just seems like Palpatine is still pulling the strings, even though this is a Vader and Obi-Wan story. Uh, and he's pulling the strings around Vader all the time. And it would not surprise me if that's the direction that goes. But we'll see. We'll see with that.
I was combing through comics and other extended
Yeah,
media for stuff that's canon right now
absolutely.
for people who are currently alive.
Right.
Um, So Sabe is actually currently alive.
Okay.
Padme's double.
Right. Oh,
At this
yes, yes.
point, she hasn't. Later, she re-encounters Vader,
Right.
but right now she's actually leading a rebellion somewhere.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
she is a character I would love to pick up with in one of these shows set around this time.
yeah.
I think she's
Yeah.
another character that I think would fit beautifully into the series.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it was Corday was the one that died in the explosion,
Yeah,
and I think there was three others, of course, from there.
yeah.
So,
Sabe is still alive,
yeah. Okay.
and she leads something called the Daughters of. It's like I think they call it like the Daughters of Anakin or something like that. The Daughters
Oh,
of
okay.
Padme,
Oh,
and
interesting.
they worship because they don't know Anakin's Vader,
Right.
so they
Right.
worship Anakin and worship
Huh.
Padme, but they
Interesting.
hate Vader and want to try to kill
Oh,
Vader.
that's
But
funny.
in the comics, they have to work with each other,
Right.
which
Hmm.
is super interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Which part of the comic series is that one again?
That is Vader Volume 2, I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Right. The Vader
And that is, I
series.
think, the first arc in that one.
Okay. That's cool. Well,
It's
jumping
a very interesting arc.
speaking of Anakin, I meant we got to see some flashback sequences, which quite
On
honestly,
Coruscant.
I absolutely was blown away. I loved it. I mean, there are a few people out there who've complained about the de-aging process, and I'm like, screw it.
The
I
more I
don't
see
care.
it, the more
I
fine it
don't
looks.
care. Yeah, I do not care. There is certain acceptances. If they are going to continue telling a story, we have to accept that there is a visual effect that is not always going to be quite there to match that process. It's the story that drives the forward the motion and how you feel about that moment. And that moment when they pulled out Coruscant and you see the back of Anakin's head and then you see them dueling and sparring was just such a powerfully wonderful scene, especially since it was before the Clone Wars. Even it took place, when he was still a Padawan, and it was just a wonderful moment to see. And it was going from Celebration, where the hype was just huge and real about these two being back on screen together, to actually seeing them back on screen together, not as Vader under a mask, but just Anakin and Obi-Wan.
And they're dueling, which is even
That's
crazier.
it.
It's just
Yeah.
it's not usually a quick just
Yeah.
walking through a hallway scene. It's like
Yeah.
them doing a whole Jedi
Yeah.
mind game against
Yeah.
each other while he's
Absolutely.
training him, and we get to
Yeah.
see how competitive they really were, which never got to
Oh, yeah.
translate live action.
Yes. Yeah. That was part of it too. Yeah, we've never seen a training sequence like this in Star Wars between those two characters.
Yeah, they
And
just kind of skipped over it. They
yeah,
went from
yeah,
Phantom Menace, and then they skipped
yeah,
over it, and then he's just kind of not. He's kind of done training. He's more just taking advice at that point.
yeah. It just it was so great to see, and it wasn't just one scene. I think we saw like 4 different sequences of that same fight
I
play
watched it
out.
all stitched together. It's actually a
Yeah,
pretty lengthy fight. It's a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
minutes long. It's
yeah.
I was surprised at how well it all cuts together too. Like you watch all
Really.
of one fight, it's really
Ooh,
it's a good fight.
I have to check that out. I have not seen that before.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, please do. Yes, absolutely. That's cool. There was another kind of moment which I found very interesting. Even though this is more foreshadowing, it shows they actually no, it's pre-shadowing. But you see Vader at this one opening shot when he's standing there in front of his Bridge of the Star
That's
Destroyer,
so good.
and we got the same thing at the end of Clone Wars, where
Yeah.
Ahsoka is got the exact same kind of shot. They come in the same angles and they come in at the same direction, which was just beautiful. They were both reaching out in some form or another, and Obi-Wan, sorry, Vader to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka to Anakin, in very similar vibes, and I just thought it was beautifully done. Well framed. Hey Mug, how's it going? Good to see you out there. And yeah, so I thought that was an amazing sequence. Let's talk about also the other great sequence. We have young Reva, and we end up by kind of seeing her backstory finally, which was
That casting is so good too for
it was
young
so great.
Reva.
Yeah, She was great. She nailed it. I don't know the actress's name,
They've
but she
been
was
nailing
great.
it with child actors lately on
Yeah,
Disney. Like they've like I
they
feel
have.
like they stepped
Yeah,
it up from when I was a kid. That's what I keep
mm,
thinking. When I was a kid, Disney Channel
yeah,
actors were just not good actors.
yeah.
Now it's
But
like Disney actors they're getting
yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see what young Luke does next week and how his performance is. But the sequence with young Raver, we got to see a couple of things, including live action full on clones, like in force going through there. Troopers, no CGI. Well, we've seen it already a couple
I
of
think
shots
this
here and
might be
there.
the first live action
Mm.
501st Legion.
Yeah. Well, are they the 501st here? Because it's like their
I
blue
mean,
is
wouldn't they
slightly
be?
different.
They're wearing the blue. I think
They,
their color.
Yeah, I guess they were split into two groups, weren't they, from the end of the Clone Wars? One group was separated and ended up by going to with Ahsoka, which was Rex, and the other group. So I assume Cody and all that might be in this group. Oh no, Cody's a different
Yeah,
different
Cody's
route.
with
Yeah,
Obi-Wan
yeah.
technically,
See,
which
this
never
blue is
fully made sense
slightly
to me.
different. Yeah, yeah. But
Like, how are they
this
Obi-Wan and Anakin both leading if they're
mm,
at the same place at the same time so often? Like, what are their armies
yeah,
just like next to each other? Like, what are you doing this week? Oh, same thing as you.
yeah, pretty much.
It's like a
We
terrible use of a whole
Yeah.
sub army.
I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know how big the 501st really were. I mean, it seemed
They
like
were
there
big. There was
was,
a lot of them. But
yeah,
we actually, I
yeah,
think in Clone Wars they showed like
yeah,
that whole shot of like a lot of them
yeah,
when they were all together, and it was
yeah.
it's not just a small squad. It's like a
No, no,
whole
no, for sure.
legion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I guess that I guess they are 501st. It's again, it's like the blue is slightly weirdly green tinge to it, but oh, let me get rid of the bugs little thing there. Okay, yeah, yes, yeah. Actually, we should mention that they mentioned at the beginning of the episode the little pre-warning about uh, uh, the uh, the violence that was going to be shown in this. But
I
again, it
didn't
was
think it was
still
as
just
bad
as
as other things. I
really.
will
I
say,
don't.
I mean, I guess for
Um,
Disney, they're like, trust
mm.
us. We like, I guess kids use this app, but
It's hard because it's already set in content. It from George Lucas and Revenge
they
of the
did buy
Sith,
a property
obviously.
where a bunch of kids have to die at one point. It's
But
canon.
I mean, we laugh about it, but it's still kind of in this day and age, it is a very graphic thing, and it's good that
Yeah.
they're mindful of that and that they put this warning out there. But just going back to again, just going back to the clone troopers and stuff, I want to see live action clone troopers so badly.
We were
Uh,
this close to live action
yeah,
Rex. We are just
yeah,
like inches away
I
from
know,
them.
yeah, and we know that's got to pop up in Ahsoka. I mean, we've already
I'm
seen
surprised we didn't
old,
get Cody in this show. He's like an established character that was in the
yeah,
movies.
and that's the big thing. We all thought way back in the day that Cody was going to be this big connection to Obi-Wan. Obviously not.
I don't
So
think I think Obi-Wan pretty much abandoned his clones. I think he was just like they turned on us, I turned
yeah,
on them.
yeah,
We're no longer he doesn't I don't
yeah.
know. He also didn't seem as close to Cody as, everyone else
As
was with
Anakin, yeah,
Rex.
yeah. Anakin definitely had a better connection with Rex along with Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean him and Cody were business. I think that was a lot
yeah.
more professional.
Yeah, that's a point. That makes sense. And the thing is, we know that Cody is going to be popping up in the Bad Batch season 2. That little scene I did see at Celebration. So the
I mean,
fact
they
that
are thinking
Cody
about
is
him at
going,
least.
well, yeah, no, absolutely, he's out there. The question is, do they deal with Cody's storyline now in the Bad Batch, or do they deal with it elsewhere? I mean, it seems like. There's no purpose or reason at this point to have Cody pop up in the Obi-Wan series at the last minute.
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
to make amends, but like it hasn't been set up.
yeah,
Unless
good
there was
point.
like
Yeah,
it would have been different if I know we got that
mm,
clone in episode
yeah,
2
yeah,
of and it would have been different if there was different clones throughout the whole
hmm
season, just kind of
yeah,
that were all different homeless. At the end, you find out they were a
yeah,
secret network of clones that were keeping
yeah.
an eye on Jedi for trying to make up
That's
for what they
cool. Yeah,
did,
makes sense.
which would have
Well, that
been amazing. But
yeah. I mean, that also goes back to we see the whole pile of lightsabers of the Jedi that have either
and then it doesn't
fallen
pan
or
out.
passed through. That was interesting. Plus, all I sure someone's already translated all the dialogue that was up on that wall, but there was a whole
Oh
lot
yeah,
more
I saw it. It
dialogue.
was
Oh
pretty.
yeah, nothing.
Eh,
Nothing
There was
major.
like a couple characters. I can't remember who it was because it wasn't anyone like
Oh,
even
okay.
that cool.
All right.
And then
Okay.
there was like a sign that said on the top, "May the Force be with you."
Okay. Right.
So it's kind of just
Okay.
boring
So nothing.
translation.
All right. They were trying to be non-descriptive so they could control the future of who they bring in. I mean, I'm still kind of hoping that oh, what's his name? The Indian Jedi. Forgot his name. Mental block. Uh,
The one in the
yeah.
got pretended to be in the show,
Yes.
or
Yeah. Obi-Wan mentions him a few weeks ago.
oh, the one he
Um,
mentions.
uh, anyway, complete.
It's such a background character. Yeah,
Voss. Yeah. Um, Quinlan Voss.
yeah, Quinlan
Um,
Voss.
yeah. I'd be happy to see him in stories around the place. I mean, hopefully he'll turn up in the Bad Batch somewhere too, which would be kind of fun. But we'll see. Along with that, the other character we haven't even talked about yet, Tala and Ned B. Wow,
Oh yeah, I mean,
what a beautiful moment. Just like beautiful and sad moment at the same time. Just the way Ned B comes up, even protecting her as laser bolts are going around her, and she's already been hit, and you
I
know,
feel like I don't know. I feel like it's something
yeah,
even though it was done really well, it's
hmm,
something we've seen before in the Mandalorian, where
I guess,
the bot sacrifices himself and just kind
yeah,
of walks into the like the lava to die,
yeah,
something
but
like
I have to
that. I don't
admit,
know.
I don't know. IG-11 wasn't as lovable as Ned B. I liked Ned B. I thought he was a
And Nebby was
cool.
cool.
I mean,
I think
I'd like to have seen more of him.
they're finding their footing with droids. 'Cause I
Yeah.
did not love the droids in Solo or
Hmm.
Rogue One. They were
Really?
okay.
Okay.
Even BB-8, I just never fully. I don't know. He wasn't really aimed
Really?
at me, but he never
Really?
fully clicked with me.
Interesting. Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I I noticed I like
Mhm.
a lot of the smaller droids they do now, like in Fallen
Right.
Order, like the BB droids.
Gotcha. See, I don't know the personality behind that droid because I've never played the game. So I know that each droid has their own unique personality that is
Yeah,
different to what we've seen before. That's always fun to watch. And Deadbeat was a little, he was a little bit like the
he was
Lenny.
designed to be helpful, and he was.
Yeah, he was like the Lenny of George and Lenny kind of thing.
Yeah,
He was a little slow, but quite a lovable character. But Tala, what a loss! Absolutely loved her character. I mean, I think
yeah.
I, that's what Star Wars does so well for characters. They bring in small characters for me that are side characters that now I just want to know their past or their future of their story of where they're going. Obviously, when a character comes to an end like this, I want to know her backstory. I want to see more of a backstory. I want to see her pop up in the Bad Batch, for example,
That would be
as
cool.
a connecting thing. It seems like there's a possibility that they could bring the actress back and voice her animated self.
You could even be
For that.
mentioned in like Andor.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Andor. There are so many things that, yeah, Andor is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for Andor to happen. I originally was like, it was my back burner series, and now after seeing the trailer and after seeing everybody's, them talk about it at Celebration, it's going to be phenomenal. But just seeing more of the Rebel Alliance, I was thought I was going to get tired of, and
I don't think you could ever
Rebels.
get tired of the Rebel Alliance.
But that's the thing. Rebels set it up. They set it up in understanding there are small factions. So to understand what different factions are like, obviously in Rogue One we see what Saul Guerrera's faction. They're a very violent faction.
Yeah,
But the rebels from Rebels, their philosophy is keeping it peaceful as they possibly can, but still putting a blow to the Empire. And I do want to see how Andor develops into this
I think
kind of
Andor is going to be more
cynical
in line with
character.
Rebels. He seems a lot more like he's a
Mm,
spy, so he's going to be a
yeah.
lot less dirty with his work. He's not going to be like
Yes.
Saw
Yeah.
Gerrera,
Yeah.
whose plan was mostly we're going to blow everything up and
Yeah.
tell the Empire to go
Right.
shove it. Like
Totally.
I think
Yeah.
casting Andor is going to be a little smoother.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But we also are going to get to see again. More stuff with Guinevere O'Reilly, Mon Mothma,
Mon Mothma, yeah.
which will be great to see this whole Senate story going on. And no, what was I saying here? Reva character is clearly the more MPV of the series. Yeah, let's just talk about her performance for a second. She's building and
Oh,
building
she's
and building,
amazing.
and it's I wouldn't say she was rough around the edges at the beginning because I still enjoyed who she was, but
No, you were
it
still.
was
I feel like at the start you
she
had to
was trying.
figure her out.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Yeah. And just to see her get more and more and more angry as her story develops and to learn that reason why she's that angry um is great. I love her so much.
Oh, the actress is killing it. I never know what
I
she's gonna do next because she's
yeah,
like
Moses
one of those characters
Ingram.
where I feel like she could totally do a turn to the light side, just to
Yeah.
screw them over again, just to
We
appease Vader.
there's something that makes me feel like it's still going to be a showdown between her and Obi-Wan because it feels like she can't live to know this secret. It's too big of a
I
secret.
think Obi-Wan's gonna kill her. I think it's gonna be really
Yeah,
sad. I think
I think. Yeah,
Vader's gonna make her fight him, and Obi-Wan's not
see,
gonna hold back like
I
last
think
time. He's gonna finish the
I
job.
I think there's going to be two sections to next week. I think the first section is going to be the showdown with Vader and Obi-Wan, but I think Reva and Obi-Wan are also a separate arc of the story. I don't feel like Vader will ever get as far as Tatooine. I don't think he should get
Yeah,
as far as Tatooine. I feel like,
we know he
I
ends up there.
yeah,
Technically,
yeah, yeah.
he's in Kanan. He turns there.
I feel like something's going to happen that is going to cause Reva's death, and I think it'll be through Obi-Wan. But I think through that moment there might be a solace of forgiveness, the same way that Obi-Wan faces down with Maul, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a very similar event where Raven knows she's just too far gone, but to turn back again, but knows that she's probably still going to be somewhat mortally wounded from the saber fight as well. So I assume she will disappear until the end, and it'll be a confrontation. Obi-Wan protecting Luke, and then ultimately her being forgiven by Obi-Wan. And I think that will open Obi-Wan's mind up to being able to connect with Qui-Gon and stuff too. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a very powerful, I think, very emotional week next week for that episode.
Oh yeah,
We
for
shall see.
sure. I think there's gonna be so much going on.
Yeah, I agree, Mug. I think she's going to be redeemed, but I think she's going to die helping. I don't know if she'll help Obi-Wan escape.
No,
See,
yeah, I
I
think
feel
she's
like
gonna.
I feel like this confrontation will be between Obi. Was that they've set it up this week that it's going to be between Obi-Wan and Reva of a connection to Luke, rather than Vader and Obi-Wan with a connection to Luke. I think it'll be Vader. It's going to be. I don't know. I don't know. We
Yeah.
know there's going to be one more fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. That is going to be the epic fight, but
Don't
we
we
don't know
see
how.
when Vader learns he has a son? Don't we see that moment where he literally says, "I have a son"?
What's that? Sorry. Oh,
Don't we see the moment when we learn when Vader learns he has a son?
in what do you
In the
mean?
original,
Yeah, in the
like,
original. Yeah, in the original.
yeah,
Yes, yes, yeah,
we
yeah,
see when Vader learns
yeah,
he has a son, so we know he
yeah,
doesn't learn it in this
yeah.
show,
No, no,
which
correct,
means that
exactly.
Reva has to either die
Yeah,
or go on the run
yeah,
without confronting Vader about his hidden child.
right. Yes, yeah, yeah,
She's the only one that knows he's Anakin Skywalker among
yeah.
the Inquisitors.
Correct, exactly. Yes, yeah. Either way, it's going to be interesting last episode of the series, and it'll be curious to see where they go from there. Kind of
My
thing.
one complaint is they have all these Inquisitors who did nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
They're just
they
vying
usually,
for attention, but
yeah,
I don't know.
they're spread out.
I'm surprised they didn't have any set pieces of the
Yeah,
Inquisitors literally fighting each other for
yeah,
that attention with like
yeah.
lightsabers that they have in
Totally.
their pockets.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to add one more thing to this episode that was kind of really special on my part, from my end at least, from watching this. And I was trying to catch this at the time. There was so much going on. I have several friends who have made friends with online over the last year and a half or so who are actually in this episode. I didn't find out too much until just recently, and they each ended up by this group here. It's Michael on the left, and Aubrey and Corey and Justice on the right there. These guys ended up by getting into the show. They were cast in as extras, and they are all over the place in this one episode. For example, it's the circle in the ring in the back there. That's Corey. The circle in the ring in the front there. That's Aubrey. This is Justice right here. They were
That's
all,
cool.
they were all what's it called? Just extras, but they were all refugee extras. In the right behind everyone right here is Corey and Michael. Michael had the blue hat and everything, and Corey and Aubrey got some, it's really spun out to see people. There they are in the background with Obi-Wan in the foreground. It's kind of crazy. They got so much screen time as extras in this sequence, and they've got all these NDAs. They can't talk about anything, obviously. But at some point in the future, hopefully when the series is over and somewhere down the track when they're allowed to talk about this sort of stuff, I'm definitely going to want to talk to them about behind the scenes, because I want to know what this experience is like to be on set. I want to know what an experience is like to be in the sound stage, in the volume where they were shooting, and just that experience. And these people have had firsthand experience, and they cannot say anything but love them all to death. And I've been following them. I got to meet them all in person at Celebration a few weeks back, and it was such a great, amazing group of people. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that in as a special nod. So that was also something that made last week's episode special to me, at least. So yeah, did I say cheese on the set? I was not on set. I was not on set. I didn't say cheese. Anyway, anything else to add to Kenobi from this week that you can think of?
I think Leia was the MVP of the episode for me.
Leia,
Um,
yes.
in terms of plot, not in terms of acting. I mean,
Yeah.
she saved them all. She got the door
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
She did the hard work. I think
Leia,
Leia put
Leia
her
does
nose to the
what
grindstone and did what it.
Leia does. Leia
Yeah,
does. Yeah, that's
she
it.
solved
And
everything. Well, everyone was like, "Oh
yeah,
no, we're all gonna die."
yeah. I
She's like,
just,
"Hold
yeah.
on, I got it."
There are people who are having problems with the acting ability or the direction of her character. I don't care. I love her. I think she's
I
doing
think she's
just
doing a
what
great job.
she's doing a great job of the performance that Carrie Fisher held so true and so strong. And it's good to see that some people are just like that from youth. My young niece, she is that strong. I've got a young niece, and she's like that focused and that kind of determination as since she was a young kid. And I could see her growing into the Princess Leia kind of style of focus and mentality. Very strong-minded young lady. But to see that also, that the Leia character was like that she wasn't a weak child. She's been strong all her life. She was
Just
brought
go
up
get
with
her.
a strong
Well, everyone else just sits
family.
around. Leia's the
Yes,
one of
that's it.
action. That's what I
Yes,
love.
yes, yeah. And I love that even Obi-Wan was like, if you trust me, trust her. Let her go.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
And
just like,
he barely
yes.
knows her.
Usually that's the way the adult kind of says, well, you got to be careful. But it's like, don't do this unless you want to. It's like, no. Hey there, Onion Nerds. How's it going? But yeah, just that moment of Leia being fully, absolutely, like, full on driven, just all through the story. I love it. Hey, Johnny.
It was
Hey.
everything about Leia that we loved about her.
Yeah,
About she was smart. She was
yeah,
taking charge, and she
yeah,
wasn't
totally.
taking anyone's crap. She was kind of just doing
Yeah,
her thing to
that's
save
it.
everyone,
Yeah.
and she wasn't gonna let anyone stop her.
Even when Hajar's out there, kind of, says, "Just stop making that noise. Stop talking to me. Let me do my thing." So good, so fun. But yeah, yeah. Any other thoughts on Obi-Wan?
That was it. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's my hero of the week.
yeah,
Leia.
yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see where the season finale goes. And hopefully it won't be a series finale. Maybe they will do something else in a spin-off kind of sense.
They're talking about season 2.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
know.
likely. I think it's pretty likely. I
Yeah.
think between this and Book of Boba Fett, I think
Mhm.
this will probably get a season 2.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like it. Yeah, it feels like there's elements of Obi-Wan's life that still can be brought off world. The thing is that I understand you can't have Obi-Wan go up against Vader, but Obi-Wan seeking more ability, more understanding of using the Force to where he becomes, the Obi-Wan we see of Alec Guinness. I feel like there's this element there that Obi-Wan still can do more good out there. But I understand the element of using the Force is also a thing that can be picked up on, and the Inquisitors are out there. But then there's plenty of Inquisitors left out there that could very well be, you know, could be a adversary to him.
And there's a
So
lot of characters
yeah,
out there at this time that, either haven't had confirmed deaths or are
yeah,
still around. Like
yes,
characters,
oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
off the top of my head, there's
yeah. Well, the idea of the path and all these Jedi that have somehow
they're
gone
out
through
there.
here, where are they going? Where are they trying to be protected? Where are they
That means
going to
there's
be
some secret
safe?
haven of Jedi.
That's it. Yes, and that leads stories, um, and that leads to other stories that I just want to know. And can Obi-Wan be connected in that continuing part of that story? Um, I would like to also just as equally see a whole story on Vader and the Empire and Vader doing what Vader does. I mean, he's only called out for special occasions. He's only called out to take on the biggest of bad. Well, you've got the biggest of Jedi or whatever maybe of situations, and we still know that the Inquisitors are pretty much out of their depth if they come across someone in the Obi-Wan Kenobi stance of level. So has Vader been out there to take over the the higher Jedi, the ones that are more skilled and more dominant, when the Inquisitors cannot? Is where I'm going with that, and I feel like we can actually see those stories on Vader and everything. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So I ramble a little bit too much. One last thing I wanted to go over. So I wanted to bring up a bit more. I wanted to show everybody a bit of Celebration Day 2. I've edited together some video footage of some stuff, and sadly, I didn't get to go into any of the big panels Day 2 either, but I did get into some of the smaller panels and some of the smaller events. So if everyone is interested in checking this out, we can talk over this, Max, of course, but this is stuff that you haven't seen yet, Max, either. So here is Day 2 of the celebration.
Day 2 of celebration. Here on the floor.
That little is so cool. Every time I see it, it looks so cool.
Now, this is the day after Kenobi.
Attack of the Clones 20th
And
anniversary.
So
everybody
was
was stopping me all the time.
They've got some pieces on display, different products. I'm gonna kind of look
So-
around and check and see what kind of things are out here.
Yeah, so this was
I
at
didn't get to yesterday, so I'm very excited to see some original merchandise.
yeah. So this is actually Rancho Obi-Wan that was all there. And this is just some highlights. I think I've got like about 20 minutes of footage in Rancho Obi-Wan alone with all their products. So guys, this is all stuff. Some of them are prototypes, some of them are actual figures and toys. This is all the merchandise stuff that's all related around the Mandalorians themselves. So Boba Fett is heavily involved with a lot of the footage here. Then they go
When
through
did
other
Boba Fett
characters.
have the things the triangles on his helmet? I've always seen that. I never know where it came from.
I think it came from the original white mold display. I don't think it's He in the animated he had
Okay.
a circle eye piece, but I think the triangles came in from the white one. They go through. They show off a lot of the comics there. This was just phenomenal.
That's
Just
cool.
seeing some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is way back from 1978, and and they've got all these retro figures. And
wow.
this is the original. They had 3 of the Boba Fett jetpack, rocket firing jetpack there
That's
on
cool.
display, including the prototype unpainted versions, which is really awesome. But basically, Rancho Obi-Wan up in San Francisco area, up in the Bay Area, they've got all this stuff up there, and they do once a week they do a tour or two,
Original
and you
molds.
can pay $75 to go on the
Huh,
tour.
good scale.
And one day I'm going to take a trip up there and make that tour. You have to book months in advance because it's constantly always sold out. And they
I can
take in like
imagine.
groups of 12 people at a time, I think it is.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think it's Obi-Wan's first comic book appearance.
yeah. I had some of these comics. I've got some of these comics. I used to have,
one.
yeah.
And now there's
We
one.
had the Woodrow Hood gang that were out there. They all dress up as Woodrow Hood, who's the orange guy in Cloud City with the decanter.
Yeah.
And they all
I
run
just
through
watched the
Celebration.
Skywalker saga.
Yeah. I never saw them run through it because I ended up by going into something else. I got into the Lego exhibit, which was kind of
Hey.
interesting.
Easy.
And they showed off the BD droid. This is kind of cool. Like they showed a cartridge on the side that pulls out. This is some stuff that they are bringing out for Andor
and his companion Luthen, and they are actually
So-
it's a very
I had to go back
That's
to this TIE
awesome.
fighter. This is
That
that.
is so cool.
I showed it last week a little bit, but it's like just seeing this thing up close was pretty detailed. This is like
Was
a
it the
20.
same ones from Disney?
It's one of their display ones that they take around the place. It's actually I think it's not an official piece, but it's still pretty cool. Mug, I was in the theater space at the time when the Ahsoka trailer played, but because I got in late, I was on the sidelines and I couldn't see the screen. So it was very hard to catch anything visually, but from what I heard, it just looked phenomenal. Because I heard the whole thing, but I could not see it from my seating arrangement. I later moved to a better place. They go through. This is the Star
This is
Wars.
the,
The hotel. They had a whole.
The Halcyon.
Yeah, the Halcyon. This is a whole display set up for the Halcyon.
Every month I see the comics for the
haven't seen,
Halcyon
like, yeah,
Legacy comic books, and I'm like, does this hotel deserve a comic book line? Like,
Yeah.
people already are kind of like iffy on the hotel, but
Yeah.
it needs a comic book line about it.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it was cute that they kind of set this all up and everything. I have not seen Lightyear yet, Anchorman. I haven't had the chance to go to the movies yet because this is just one of the animatronic droids. Day 2 for me was about droids. There was a lot of droids all over the place.
That's cool. He's
But this one's
riding
really
a bike.
cool. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a basic animatronic in the neck, and then the wheels move the legs and everything.
Yeah.
This is just some of the people selling merchandise and stuff like that, and it was just crazy the amount of stuff that was there. It was insane. More droids. This was obviously a R5D4 droid, which was very cool. And the droid builders do some phenomenal jobs there. It's amazing.
All their stuff looks so much better than the ones you can see at like Galaxy's Edge. The R2 they have for like 25,000.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's a very cleaned up one. This is just out.
It's very
yeah,
clean.
Yeah. This is just out the front. People just like constantly like getting photographs. So this is the droid factory. This is where the droid builders went. There's well over 200 droids on display here in this particular space.
R2 drink tray.
Yeah, and they put a Bubba Frick inside of a mouse droid as an operator, and I saw him driving around at one point. It's like this little Bubba Frick's operating the little mouse droid. It opens up.
That's awesome.
It's very cute. It's very, very cute. But yeah, they have just like everything's like, see the decanter there just closes up, and they've got an animatronic Ugnaught doing repairs, and this is just all fans building robots from pieces and mechanisms and displays, and putting it up as part of the Droid Builders Club. and they all build these pieces that go out around different tours and things like that. I actually would love to do it. If I had space to build this, I probably would build my own droid. Like they've even got Toto 360 there.
What kind
And
of
of
droid
course,
would you build? Would you build
AZ.
an astromech or a?
I would build I would love to build a chopper. Although AZ is kind of a cute one. Although you can't get into hover, of course, but AZ is kind of cool. But you know, people do their own custom ones, like the little
A little minion droid.
yeah, a little minion droid was kind of fun. This is one of the R2s which have got all the extra pieces sticking out of it, which is kind of a fun
Yeah, all
piece.
his little gadgets that he has.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's not even all of them because he still has the jetpacks. And,
yes, yeah. This was like a full-size toy version of the original R2-D2 on display there.
That's cool.
It really was a great show. The convention, if you ever get the chance to go to one of the Star Wars conventions, it's so worth it. This is me being bothered by somebody already just about my 3D printed Lola that I built there, talking in the background.
Thank you, thanks.
But yeah, there's just other pieces. These are all prop replicas and stuff like that, which are some really cool things. The amount of stuff being sold
Palpatine's
there,
lightsaber.
yes, yeah. This was cute. This is just a little
Battle of
statue
Endor, that's
by-
cool, diorama.
Yeah. I forgot the company that did this one, but yeah.
Oh, this is so cute.
Yeah, I know, it's actually kind of fun.
They're just destroying it.
Yeah. Now, these were awesome.
Yes. So this is a
This
fully
is Hasbro's
animatronic
toys. They're
version.
coming out later
It
this
interacts
year.
with your voice.
They're only
It
like
talks
about
Did you
to
put
you.
yours next to it to
And
compare
there's
it?
a nice touch
Yeah,
screen
mine's a
to
bit different.
activate it.
Mine's
It has
size-wise,
two
these are the same.
bases. So in this base, it activates certain light, sound, and motion combinations.
Right.
And then in flight mode, it moves more freely
It's
on the base.
just there's some really cool animatronic. Yeah, there's some really cool animatronic pieces that are in those toys, and they're only about $80. I was quite surprised at how cheap they were.
Oh, yeah, it's not. Could be
and-
so much
yeah,
worse.
Yeah,
They
and
sold
they're
at
coming.
Disney, it'd definitely be like 200.
Oh yeah, no, that's yeah, but they are through Hasbro, and Hasbro are releasing them later this year of all things. I was surprised at how quickly they got this out of the market. And in fact, I went through the. I ended up by going through the Hasbro line, and they stopped me the day beforehand, recognizing the droid Lola on my shoulder, and they really were like blown away at how quickly I'd got it together. And I was telling them, yeah, I built it from the advertisement I saw the week beforehand and all that. And they literally stopped me the next day and they said, you don't understand. We wanted to tell you so much about our little droid that they were showing. They showed this droid off the day after Kenobi came out. So
Oh yeah, they
with the animatronic,
beforehand.
exactly, they couldn't talk about it beforehand. So it was.
I think
kind
you
of
probably
cool
had the
that-
first like fan built version of Lola.
Yeah, there was apparently somebody else walking around with one that was on a stick that sat on a pole, but I didn't get to see that. But there was, people were stopping me all the time. On day 2, unfortunately, when I was in the droid building section there, I was being stopped by all the different droid builders that were asking me questions. And sadly, my friend Levi, who was trying to get in contact with me, he couldn't get back into there because he'd walked through and left the area of the droid section. Tried to get back in. They wouldn't let him back in because you have to go through a pass line and everything. He wanted to grab me because they had the Mandalorian experience going up, and he got some free tickets or free passes to get into the Mandalorian experience. And he was trying desperately to get me. And I didn't even hear my phone go off. It was that loud and noisy. And I was talking and everything. And yep, Levi bummed. And ended up by missing the Mandalorian experience, which looked phenomenal. But Levi from All New Nerds ended up by getting some beautiful footage of going through that whole area. They had the full large N1 starfighter. They had the full-on the Rancor head from Book of Boba Fett. They had tons and tons of original set pieces that were on display. So I am kicking myself that the droid builders stopped me from going into seeing the Mandalorian experience, and that little droid cost me a lot. The one that's sitting on my shoulder, just over here. But at the same time, I ended up by doing my own thing that day. It was a fun day, and yeah, I had a great time when it came down to Celebration, and I'll edit some more video for next week. I'll drop this video, and I've got like probably an hour's worth of footage. I do have footage there that I did sneak from the animated piece. I won't be able to drop any of that, so I might have to drop a separate, like a private line. If anyone wants to see some of the Star Wars Holiday Summer Vacation, I did get some video. Yeah,
Has that been
Summer
announced yet?
Vacation. That's that. No, this is the story of the Lego in the Lego story. It was they did the Halloween special, and
Oh,
they did the holiday,
right.
the Christmas, the holiday special, and they did the Halloween special. This is
Okay.
the Summer Vacation special,
Yeah.
which is coming out later this year in the fall, I think it was, and it was going to be one of those kind of silly things. They've just defeated the First Order. They've all exhausted. So what does everybody do? They all go on summer vacation at the beach, kind of thing.
That's pretty great.
In the Star Wars Lego verse, and
They
they
got
show
my
a whole
money.
trailer. Yeah, and so I wasn't thinking about it, but I actually was just recording some bits and pieces, and I recorded parts of the actual trailer that I wasn't supposed to, and I will not be showing that stuff online because I won't. It'll get pulled, but I might, as I said, I might make up a separate link, a private link, and if anybody wants to see some private links of the Star Wars Celebration Lego kind of stuff, I'll figure something out. I don't know. I'll figure out a way to show you. It looks fun. There'll be trailers, there'll be adverts and trailers coming out soon, I'm sure. How did I get home, Anchorman? I drove home because I'm only about an hour and 20 minutes away from Celebration, but I did end up by staying there for a few days. But yeah, in the area at least of Anaheim. So wait a sec. What's this? Who's the dude in the tube from
yeah.
Jedi Survivor game there?
Yeah,
What's
I have a
that?
theory. So it's the sequel of Fallen Order, the Cal Kestis game. There's this Jedi, supposedly a Jedi, someone in a tube. They got like this long flowing hair.
Right.
I think it's I can't remember the guy's name. The Jedi you weren't looking for him.
Right.
But you were like he had something to do with the first game. I think it's like a clone of him.
Has it got anything to do with the High Republic? Because I heard rumor it might be a High Republic character that might be connected into something Star Wars.
I would be surprised if it was.
Is it a cryotube or is it a?
It's like a. It's not like a cryotube because it's like floating in water. It looks like.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So it looks like almost like a Bacta tank, but
not.
But he's just like Eno Cordova. I think it could be Eno Cordova.
All right.
I think it could be a clone of Eno Cordova. That's my theory.
What if I was cloned? I think that would be double the trouble. But yeah. So this is all in the new game that's
okay. So they're saying it is Bacta. I thought it was a cloning tube or a.
He thinks it's Bacta. Mug thinks it's Bacta. I don't know too much about the story. I did hear the rumor though that it might be somebody from the High Republic, but who's been somehow in Bacta for generations. But I don't know.
That'd be interesting. Just a perfectly preserved Bacta tank that never tipped over or anything. It's just in there.
Yeah, But either way, anyway, Max. That basically is what we have for the week. It was it was the two of us. It was nice having just a small group to chat on and stuff like that. Guys, everybody out there in chat, thank you for joining us. And next week we are going to talk about Kenobi. Actually, correction. Next week we're not going to be on Sunday. I'm going to be working next weekend. So what I think we might try to do is we might try to figure out something. I'm working both Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to try to figure something out that we can talk about the Kenobi series and the series finale. We might do it maybe on a Friday early evening or something like that, depending on everybody's schedule. So keep an eye out. We will not be up Sunday as originally planned next weekend, but we will do something talking about Kenobi for sure. Max, thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure once again. And chat, guys, everybody, thank you so much. and we will talk to you soon. Keep an eye out for next week. It will not be Sunday. It will be a different day, possibly Friday. All right. See you later, everybody.